This is your friend Hillbilly Scribbs with you for another one of these here episodes of the Hillbilly Hangout interview show. And folks, let me tell you, we have got a heck of a show for you today. Got something really special cooked up for you. Got a really special guest with a really special message today. And I'm not going to go any further. Let me introduce this guy. Y'all probably know him from the MTFO. You may, and you more likely know him from a bunch of the other fan leagues. He's that Cosmic Nightfury, Mr. Nico Rigoli. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing very well. Thank you very much, Mr. Scribbs. Good to be here. I've heard this place is very safe from Skrulls and black helicopters. So far, so good. I don't see any Skrulls, nor do I see any black helicopters. So the place is living up to its moniker.
Yeah, I've got a pretty secure location here. Most of the windows and the roof is lined in tinfoil. So we don't have to worry about anyone trying to read our brainwaves or hear our thoughts. So we should be good. The only people that are going to know what we're talking about are the folks watching at home. So I think we're in for a pretty secure taping tonight.
I like the sound of a secure taping.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get started. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, and I'm excited for us to dive in. But before we get into the real meat and potatoes of this tonight, let's let the viewers who may not know you kind of get to know a little bit about you. Just go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe what got you into this whole universe of trivia that we all play around.
So yeah, everyone has that story of how did you get into the Schmodown, which like you usually don't get into the fan leagues until you become a fan of the Schmodown. And you know, right. I started off as a fan of Screen Junkies movie fights, but I liked it more for the competition aspect than I did the movie aspect. Yeah. And I was also a fan of ETC, so Ricky Hayberg and Elliot Dewberry, and so I was a regular watcher of their shows. Again, not so much for the movies, but more so for like the weekly weird news that they would do like every Thursday. And they mentioned at the end of one of those uploads that they were going to be competing in season 2 of the Schmodown during the AfterBuzz era. And I only watched their matches. And when they got eliminated, that's actually when I stopped watching. So like I'm one of those rare people who like, oh, I had some favorites. They were in, they were out. So my viewing time for the Schmodown is done. And then the Force Bros came in the next season, and I got back into it right around the time Spectacular 1 was set to upload. And I've been a fan ever since. And I'd say midway through season 4, Joey Morin, who is a name that used to be popular around these parts back in, I'd say 2017, but he's kind of fallen out of the Schmodown radar. He created what was known as the Fan Reaction League, where basically you would play along to round 1 and you would get points over the course of the season. And we'd have little matches here and there under the name Trial by Fire. Now, I liked those matches simply because like you could win with like 6 points. Like it didn't matter if you had the highest score. What matters is if you at least passed the trial. And more often than not, I passed the trials by like the bare minimum amount of points. Yeah, that was my first introduction into the fan leagues. And then right before the year 2017 ended, that league shut down and everyone kind of went their separate ways from that. And the people who were helping Joey run that league became the runners of Full Metal. And others, they kind of went on and did their own thing over on Hunter Chambliss's channel, Film Nerd TV, creating what was now known as Jack of All Trivia, but was known back then as Schmo Bros Trivia Shows. And they had a wrestling division there. And I was someone who really wanted to compete in that. And I went 2-0 with 2 knockouts. And then I had the balls to challenge both the champ and the number 1 contender to a triple threat match. The champion at the time was formerly Mark, now Harley Boric. And the challenger was JTH, Jeremy Hastings, who always sponsors a movie trivia Schmodown Wheel Slice. So when I challenged them the first time, I had a very bad performance. I got way too cocky. I wasn't ready for that kind of spotlight. I was eliminated after like 3 rounds, and JTH actually took the title from Harley. So then then my record kind of got 50-50, but because I had the best record out of everybody else, apparently, that had more than 2 matches, I somehow got a title shot. And I got another title shot. And by the skin of my teeth, I put all the effort I could into studying for that title match, and I beat JTH. I became the wrestling trivia champion. And that's sort of what I've kind of held my hat on for the longest time. But I wanted to branch out. I knew that wasn't going to last. And I kind of lost it on my first title defense before the year ended. So like I kept trying to find new ways to keep relevant. So I became a manager to a couple of people. I really liked Jay Washington's managerial style. Like he wanted to put a lot of spotlight on the female players that we had because they don't really get a lot of spotlight. You see that throughout every league, and it's not a conscious, and it's not really a problem that we try to cause. It's just one of those things of like, subconsciously, because they might stay quiet or for whatever other reason, there's just not enough of them to really raise their voice. They kind of get lost in the shuffle from time to time. So I wanted to be Jen Kemp and Jessica Morgan's manager. And I also even tried to, I almost became a manager to Janine the Machine, believe it or not. She was set to have a fan league match against Taylor Robinson. And I was in talks to be her manager. Little did I know that she had already talked to Harloff about becoming a Schmodown roster member the next season. So that fan league match never happened, and I never got to manage her. But still, we've kept in touch for the longest time. She's a close friend now, and I'm very thankful for it. And since then, I've had some success in multiplex. Mm-hmm. Haven't had so much success in Full Metal, but I'm looking to change that in 2020. Same goes for the movie Trivia Face Off. I haven't had the best start to things here as well, but I'm looking to change that as well. And I have had some success elsewhere, like following a fallout from Jack of All Trivia. I helped co-found Combat Wrestling Trivia, where I challenged for the first heavyweight championship in a match that I created, a last man standing match format. Which is basically like, you know how in video games you play until you hit the end of the health bar and the player dies? Right. That's basically what we did. We set each other up for we started off with 20 points each, and then for every wrong answer we got, we lost a point, and we kept going until someone hit 0. Yeah. So like being a league runner in a way, it's been nice to sort of flex my creative muscles of creating new matches in that way. And we're going to get into some more of those matches later on when we talk about it. But I'm also currently the TMG Entertainment Chokeslam Wrestling Debate Champion. And I was a terrible debater for the longest time. And then thankfully they just created one in a medium that I'm actually good at. And it worked out. I'm the first ever champion in that promotion, and I'm very thankful for it. So I've had my fair share of success. I've had my fair share of failures, but it's all led me to this point right here. And some people like me, some people get annoyed by me, but I think everyone respects me.
Oh, I think so. I definitely think so. Listening to all that, there's like a ton of different types of competitions you've been a part of. Some you've pioneered. I know for a lot of us, we come into this through the Schmodown, but having come from an appreciation of Screen Junkies first, do you have a preference for like the more traditional like trivia matches, or do you prefer the debate style matches?
It's not. I'll say this. I appreciate them both. It's just for the longest time I felt I was better at trivia than I was at debate. And like I had never won a movie debate in my entire career. And then all of a sudden the Chokeslam comes along in TMG Entertainment, which is a sister promotion of Movie Battleground. Like that, I just found some success in that department because I think I figured out like, I can't just wing it on the day of. Like, I got to have planned arguments ahead of time, because it's those things I didn't prepare for that always knocked me down. And that's the same for trivia. That's the same for trivia. So I won't say like I got into this through Screen Junkies so much as like I'm a sports entertainment guy first. That's what brought me in. Not a love of movies, although I do enjoy movies. I do have a love for certain franchises that are talked about and answered questions for a lot in the geek leagues. But like, I'm a sports entertainment guy. That's what brought me to this dance.
Okay. Yeah. Well, and that's something I was kind of picking up on from what you were saying. And we're going to get into the card of your big thing here in a minute. There's a lot of the competitions on the card that are more like sports entertainment or pro wrestling oriented. So I'm really excited and looking forward to hearing about all that. But before we jump into the card, let's give folks a little background of what this is. Maybe for those that don't know, you can tell them about what the Thon is and how you became a part of that, and maybe a little bit even of the background and history of the Thon itself.
Okay, so just to break this down, I'll start off talking about Thon, and then I'll get into how trivia for Thon was born out of it. So Thon is, for those who don't know, I just recently graduated from Penn State University, specifically the New Kensington campus. I'm proud to call myself a native of New Kensington, Pennsylvania. So every year for the past 40-something years, students from every Penn State campus have gone to the Bryce Jordan Center, which is the big arena at University Park. That's main campus. We go there towards the end of winter, and we hold a 46-hour dance marathon every year to raise money for the Four Diamonds Pediatric Cancer Research Fund. Now, where the money that goes to Four Diamonds, that money is directed towards researching a cure for pediatric cancer, but also for helping cover the financial costs and making the fights a little bit easier for the families of child cancer patients at the Hershey Children's Hospital. So just being a part of Penn State, you at least hear about Thon, even if you're not actively involved in it. And for the longest time, because I had been a student for 6 years. Do your homework, kids. It'll get you out of college a lot faster. But anyway, so I had heard about Thon for the longest time, and I had wanted to be a part of it. I just wasn't sure entirely what it was for a couple of those years. And I had other things going on during my student tenure. So my focus kind of got moved away from being able to actually contribute to that. And then in 2016, literally just a few weeks after Donald Trump was elected president, my dad was diagnosed with a tumor in his brain. And it was a hard-fought 14 months for him after that diagnosis. And sadly, he didn't make it. And it was at that point that I knew. He died on January 24th, 2018. I remember the day. It was at that point that I knew, because I think I'd already made up my mind I was going to the Thon that year. It just so happened that like Dad passed around the same time. So it was like, okay, now I absolutely have to go to this. And I did. I went to my first Thon in February of 2018, and it was an eye-opening and heart-wrenching experience. Like just being there around all those children, giving them hope when you'd think they have little reason to have any, and also being there to give some hope and a morale boost to all the students who are dancing, doing their best to lift these kids' spirits. Like they need their own spirits lifted just to get through all those 46 hours. So it was a unified effort on everyone's part. And it's we think Josh McCouga has talked about it a couple times on a few streams, but like every year we raise like 10 something million dollars, and that year it was no different. So
Wow.
fast forward a few months towards like the spring or summer of 2018, and I might be getting my dates mixed up, but so during Full Metal's, we'll say second season, I guess. Patrick Patrick Campbell, PJ Campbell, Schmodown fans know who he is. His corgi Kirk passed away, and literally that weekend after his dog passed, the folks at Full Metal all gathered together, and within like the snap of a finger, there were charity matches planned for that weekend to help raise money for a dog-centric charity. And I was amazed by that. And then after the passing of the late great Big John Schnepp, we did it again. And I was amazed by how the family community came together and was able to just put on a weekend's worth of shows like that, all for a good cause. And it made me think, because I'd like to say that I'm motivated through the hold my beer mentality. Like, oh, you've done something really cool. Let me see if I can top it. And for a good cause, if you want to top something, that's perfectly fine. And so I was thinking, like, what if I sat down for a few months and just figured out how we could make something like incredibly big that could last a week, and all the money goes to a great cause. So I took the spirit of Thon, which is dancing for 46 hours straight, and in January of this past year, so literally 12 months ago, I decided, let me talk to the people from Full Metal and Multiplex, and also get Combat Wrestling Trivia involved. And I want to see if I can compete 14 times in the span of a week. Well, we did it throughout a month, and then the uploads just happened to be all on the same week. But yeah, I wanted to take that marathon mentality that comes with the actual Thon and put it into trivia. And the matches I took on, there were probably more skilled people who could have taken on that responsibility, but I just wanted to do it to prove that it could be done. And my goal was to raise $6,000 by putting my donor box link in the description of each of the matches videos for YouTube. And given that a lot of the people who I was trying to appeal to, because I was also doing it in tribute to my dad, and my dad had my dad has a lot of respect around this city, so like people were happy to help however they could, but they were also kind of old, so they didn't understand like the technology aspect of what I was doing. So I just kind of gave into them and said, here's the link, just donate to this, watch the matches if you want to. But yeah, so my goal was $6,000. By the time we got to the main event on day 7 of last year, we had raised just under that. And then towards right at the end of Thon's fundraising deadline, so like Thon goes from Friday, Saturday, Sunday of a weekend in February. Fundraising stops on Saturday night, right around midnight.
Okay.
And so like I had managed to raise $7,072. And that actually brought Penn State New Kensington itself to our overall goal of $30,000, and put us on the top 10 earners list out of all of Penn State's campuses. And there are like 24 campuses. So the fact that we made it to the top 10, and every single person at Penn Ken who I've talked to about this and knows what I went through fundraising wise, they basically said, you're the reason we got on that top 10 list. And I feel greatly honored and privileged by it. And I'm happy to do it again here for you this year as part of Trivia for Thon 2.
Man, that is something else, Nico. I know I little bit about the Hillbillies history. I didn't really come into the fan leagues until this past year, really until about summertime, and not until and it was, let me go back, and it was just mainly here in the MTFO where I was involved. So it really wasn't toward the end of this year that I started getting exposure to the other fan leagues and learning a little bit more about them and the people in them and stuff. So when I was hearing about this thing that you did last year, I got to tell you, man, it knocked my socks off. I can't imagine. I have a hard time doing one match in one day.
Oh, let me tell you, because I know where you're going with this. I know where you're going with this, and let me just tell you, it was one of the most exhausting experiences of my life, putting my brain through all of that. Not just like the studying, because there was a lot of studying for a lot of different mediums of trivia and a lot of different aspects of it, but also just like the planning of like every chat room, trying to schedule all the moving parts involved and making sure things were uploaded on this day, that day, and factor in the fact that like it was the unofficial opener to the Schmodown Brooklyn season 6 opener. So I'm also factoring in traveling and traveling back. Like we literally, the live stream for day 7, which was the main event, I had literally just gotten off a plane coming home 3 hours prior to that. So like I had flown back to Pennsylvania from Brooklyn, or rather from LaGuardia Airport. And then I competed against Andrew Hayes in our Combat Wrestling Trivia inaugural heavyweight title match. And the exhaustion was noticeable. The exhaustion was very noticeable. And throw in the fact that there were also a few other matches that I had to do for multiplex that were outside of Trivia for Thon that month, or at least a week or so afterwards. I was ready to throw myself off a bridge. I was that exhausted. But here I go again. I've somehow managed to book myself into 11 matches for Trivia for Thon 2 out of the 15 that are going to air. Throw in 2 more for multiplex that I kind of have no choice but to be in. Because I sign up for these matches and I fulfill my obligations. That's what I do. So like I make it work. That's the consummate of a professional. But yeah, 13 matches I'm going to have to tape as a competitor over the span of the next month, and like 4 to 6 more as a host or judge of some kind. So like I'm going to be so exhausted by the end of this month, but it'll be worth it because we're doing a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what it all comes down to is you're doing a good thing, and it's the cause that you're doing this for is just, I think it's one of the best causes in the world to try to raise funds for and to get awareness out about, and it's a heck of a way to honor and leave a legacy for your father as well. So I think it's just amazing.
Not just to honor him, but to also sort of set my own legacy. Like last year, it was about honoring his legacy because, I love my dad and I still think about him and I still miss him all the time. We had our faults as father and son, but we also had our highs as father and son. Like that's the relationship between father and son. Like it's not always going to be perfect, but at the end of the day, I still love him and I still miss him. And I was happy to honor him in that way. Basically give the kids who shared in his fight as an adult to give them hope in that way. But this year, like I am still going to honor him, but the focus is now on not just setting my legacy as a sports entertainer, competitor, promoter, what have you, but also showcasing all the good work that we do throughout these fan leagues. Like that's the thing that I feel like kind of didn't cross that bridge last year, was like we definitely got some attention on the channels that we're all a part of, but like it could have been more. It could have been more. And maybe that's just because I wasn't hitting the right audiences. Like I was hitting people who loved my dad and wanted to support him and support me in my efforts to honor him. But now I want to put more emphasis on giving the people who love what we do throughout this community. I want to give them a show. I want to give them something to be proud of. Show all the good work we do, and maybe they'll get involved themselves somehow.
Oh yeah, I love it, man. And I know one thing that we're going to try to continue here in the MTFO throughout 2020 is to get more involved in charity style matches. And what you're doing right here is kind of what's going to be kicking things off in that regards here in the MTFO. So I know the rest of the league here, we're super happy to have an opportunity to be a part of this. Now you kind of talked about the thing last year. Let's kind of segue. I think I used that word right. Let's try to segue into what's coming up this year here in a couple weeks, and we'll kind of just go down the card, and you can talk as much or a little about each match as you want, and kind of give everybody sort of a taste of all the flavors we're going to get to experience.
Of course. So basically, like I said, for year one, here in year two, just to explain the donation stuff, there will be a donor link in the video description of every match that is uploaded throughout the week of January 17th to the 24th. Again, we're serving as the unofficial opener for the Schmodown Brooklyn live event. So I'm very happy that we get that, like, even Harloff has been helping me promote it in a way on SEN, because to an extent, like, basically I type in the chat and pay $11 for that super chat, and he's like, well, he paid for it, I have to read it now. So yeah. I'm basically paying for advertising, but hey, whatever works. Let's go through the card. Let's go through the card, and starting off with night one, that is January 17th. I wanted to start it off big, so we're doing another inaugural championship match, specifically the Combat Wrestling Trivia Tag Team Championships. It is a 5-team turmoil match. And basically, like, if you watched wrestling before, you might have heard the phrase tag team turmoil, and it's basically a gauntlet. Like, two teams enter the match, whoever gets pinned gets eliminated, and then another team comes out, and so on and so forth until you get to the end. That's basically what we're doing here. And so to give a little backstory, in Multiplex, before I was partnered up with Chris Doman, my partner was the minor threat Matthew Rosa, and I love the kid to death. But in terms of movie trivia, we just couldn't seem to find our groove, and we were forcibly split up by Cody Newberry. This is our big tag team reunion here in Combat Wrestling Trivia, because I feel like both of us are much better at wrestling than we are at movies in terms of trivia. And in the spirit of fun, we will be starting off this particular match. So we will be team number one, and the second team entering this match is Jacob Barber, who volunteered himself before he even had a partner to be team number two. Michael Turner will be his partner for this match. And what is going to happen is, individually, the four of us are going to answer 7 questions. Whichever team has the higher combined score will move on to face team number 3, which I'll get to in just a moment, while the other team will be eliminated. Whichever team has the lower score will be eliminated. In the event of a tie, we'll do typical sudden death rules that you see in the trivia community. So whoever wins between my team and Jacob and Turner's team will move on to face the team of the Breakdown Boys, Adonis Nazario and James Berryman III, JB3. Whoever wins after that will take on current Combat Wrestling Trivia Heavyweight Champion Andrew the Dude Hayes and his partner Aaron Sellers, the A-plus players. And then whichever team makes it out of that fall will move on to face the final team of Harley Boric and Subrath Sharma. And whoever comes out of that final fall will be declared the new and first ever Combat Wrestling Trivia Tag Team Champions of the world. This league has been around for a year, but we're only just now starting off our team's division, and this is the biggest way I could think of to kick it off. And I'm very happy because, like I said, I like to experiment with new match types using Trivia for Thon as the launching pad. And, like, as far as I know, especially considering it's hard to do it now because of the limits of certain streaming platforms here in this community, like Discord can get you so far, StreamYard can get you so far, Google Hangouts could only get us so far when it was still a thing. But yeah, we figured out a way to make it work, and we're gonna tape it next week, and then it'll air on January 17th. And we're excited for you guys to see a first time ever match. No one has ever tried this before, and I don't know if anyone ever will because of how complicated it can be. But I'm happy to have done something like this.
Yeah, I'm excited to check that one out. Like I said, I've pretty much just watched matches in MTFO and some of the other movie trivia leagues. I'm a huge wrestling fan, so I can't wait to check out some of this stuff. And that one sounds pretty dang entertaining. So that's the first night. What comes after that?
So night two, we have two special matches that are going to be taking place over in the world of Full Metal Trivia. So we have the first match is just going to be a simple Full Metal Classic match. As they like Full Metal Classic, they usually do once a weekend and then once either Wednesday or Thursday. So 2 matches a week. So there will be 2 Full Metal Classic matches throughout this week of Trivia-a-thon 2. This is the first one. 5 people will compete. I will be one of those people. Cameron Holzman will be at the desk calling the match. Stay tuned on the Full Metal Trivia Facebook page for an announcement saying, hey, we're taking players for this match. And if you're one of the lucky few selected, you will be a part of that match along with me. I'll probably get eliminated at round 1. I hope not. I hope to make it all the way to round 3, but you never know because Full Metal Classic is a very interesting arena to enter. But yeah, so like, again, stay tuned for the Facebook post. Be ready to sign up when the sign-up sheet is available. That is the first match of night 2, which, by the way, is January 18th. That's a Saturday for the American audiences. The second match is going to be in Full Metal Trivia's random division, and it's a very special UFC Trivia Iron Man match. Yes, and by the way, this is night 2 is happening on the same night that Conor McGregor and Donald Cowboy Cerrone are going to be fighting as part of UFC 246. So this is going to be sort of like a lead-in. It's going to be a triple threat UFC Trivia Iron Man match. Myself versus my good brother Adonis Nazario and Grant Gregory. All of us are big MMA fans, and we're all very happy to do this UFC match for you guys. I realize UFC kind of has a niche audience, and like there are only so many fighters that the casual people know. But if you're into professional fighting, this match might be for you. And fun story. I mentioned some of my accolades back at the start of this interview. One of the things I forgot to mention was I ran a short-lived league called the Mixed Martial Arts Trivia Showdown. It lasted for like 6 matches. And basically the problem was I tried to be both a competitor and a league runner, and I couldn't maintain the balance of the work. And it was hard to put together matches because there were only so few people who wanted to play. I didn't understand basically what constituted a 5-point question versus a 1-point question at the time, because I was like trying to differentiate between all the various promotions, not just UFC, but things like Pride, Strikeforce, Invicta, WEC, Bellator, Ryzen, One Championship, what have you. And you can see why the league didn't pan out the way I had hoped, but this is a nice little throwback to that. I get to be a mixed martial arts trivia competitor once again, and it feels good because I haven't gotten to do that in a very long time.
Yeah, that'll be another neat one. I got to say, I kind of watched a little bit of the UFC when it first came around, and then I kind of got away from it. But it's one of those things that if you don't watch it all the time, whenever you do catch a match, because it is so different than what a lot of us watch in professional wrestling, it really grabs your attention, and they're pretty dang exciting. Some of them are pretty darn quick too. But
but
a lot of fun.
It's the real life aspect that draws you in. And once upon a time, a match like this, it probably would have been easy for everyone to follow, just because like there was only like one pay-per-view a month, and then you were lucky if you got a free card on Spike TV to also watch that same month. Now there's like a card every single week, and it's so damn hard to keep up with everything going on. Like the UFC's roster is like at 500 plus now, and so there are just so many names to keep track of. So there's a chance this could be high scoring. There's a chance this could be low scoring, but we'll see. That's the fun of it, because like there's so the UFC, it's been around since 1993, and there's so much to cover. Yeah,
and that's the other thing about some of these like kind of what you call niche categories, you tend to get a lot deeper cuts with the questions too in these categories. Yeah, that'll be interesting to watch. I can't wait to watch it and learn a little bit about the ultimate fighting.
Well, Adonis, Grant, and I will try our best to be good teachers for all the viewers at home.
All right. So let's move on to we're on day 3, right?
Yes, day 3. So that is January 19th. That's a Sunday for the American audiences. We're doing one match in Full Metal Trivia. It's also a random match. So this one is very interesting because it'll cover the 4. By the way, it's an Iron Man match. That's basically the gist of most Full Metal Trivia random matches. Is they're usually Iron Man matches unless they have like some sort of special stipulation at the request of the players. More on that later. Wink, wink, foreshadowing. Yeah, for this match, it's going to be the 4 theatrically released Lego movies, but also the 4 straight-to-DVD Bionicle movies. For those who don't remember, Bionicle was sort of Lego's first attempt at doing their own long-form storytelling development. And I was a big fan of those action figures. I bought the DC comic books that they put out every 2 months. I was a big fan of that. And like, I feel like that Lego property doesn't get a lot of love in this community. So Nazario Montenegro, who was just a competitor for your inaugural singles championship, he was kind enough to humor me on this proposal. He was like, listen, I'll let you have the Bionicle movies if we also do the theatrical Lego movies that came out as well. So the Lego movie 2, the second part, the Lego Batman movie, and the Lego Ninjago movie. So yeah, we're going to be covering those 8 movies in this special Iron Man match. And it's going to be a fun time. That's going to be the undercard match for day 3. The main event match is going to be my debut into the newly formed featured presentation Trivia League, formed by a former member of your fraction, Tony Heald. Good on him for deciding, you know what, I want to try something. I want to see what it feels like to actually run a league for myself. And so far, he's done a great job. I like his sort of strange bedfellows team format that he's created, where like, okay, you sign up, I'll pair you up with this guy who also signed up. And I like that randomness of it. That's part of the appeal of why it's the main event, is there are so many random variables at this moment. So far, the only announced name for that match is me. I don't know who my partner is going to be. I don't know who our opponents are going to be. We're going to find that out that week. And if Tony asks, I'll keep it close to the vest as to who else signed up. But if he allows me, I'll promote it a few days prior, just so you guys know who else is going to be in that match. But yeah, I'm excited to dive deep into new waters in this trivia community, because like I'm sorry if I'm talking so much, but like I try to compete. I try to compete in every league at least once, and this is one league that I have not gotten to compete in yet.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't apologize for talking a lot. This is your thing, and I want to make sure everyone that's watching knows all about it, so they can get excited for it and know when to tune in for what. That match you're doing over in Tony's thing, I'm excited about that. The whole air of mystery around it makes it pretty dang exciting. I did have a thought though on your match with Nazario. What you guys should do is y'all should get a bucket of Legos and just dump them on the floor next to where you're recording. And after every question, you should have to walk over them.
Oh, dude. Peek behind the curtain. We're recording this at 10:30 at night. So like we're not going to want to deal with that sort of cleanup right before we both go to bed. But I appreciate the proposal. I just don't think that's for us. Like, you've just mentioned a few minutes ago that you're also a wrestling fan. So we've seen those PWG matches where they use Legos in the middle of the ring and just slam someone on top of them. And like, my God, it is it shouldn't look as scary as it does, but it's so scary to watch someone just get dropped onto a pile of Legos.
You know, I think it's because most folks have stepped on one of them dang bricks at least once in their life, and just one of them hurts. I can't imagine going through a whole pile of them.
Oh, it looks nightmarish. It looks nightmarish. So we'll keep that in mind. I don't think that proposal is going to go through, but yeah, that's your lineup for night 3. Again, Lego and Bionicle movies for the opener, and then we've got featured presentation trivia league, Tony Heald's league for the main event.
All right. Well, we're about halfway through this thing. What comes up on night number 4?
Night number 4. So, little backstory on this one. So, Combat Wrestling Trivia. This is for the undercard match, by the way. Combat Wrestling Trivia back in November put out a big event called Survivor, which sort of coincided with Survivor Series that the WWE was doing around that time of the month. And one of the matches that was supposed to happen was a special debate exhibition, champion versus champion, non-title. It was going to be me, the choke slam champion of TMG, facing off against Combat Wrestling Trivia's heavyweight champion, Andrew the Dude Hayes. Because I was trying so desperately to graduate from college at the time, we couldn't sit down and actually do a taping. So planning just didn't work out. And so we had to push it back. So we're now moving it here as part of the undercard match for night number 4. Now, for those of you who are wondering, because there's probably a sense of controversy here, why is the champion not defending his title? Why am I not defending my title? And the explanation I'll give you is I wanted to. I honestly wanted to defend my title as part of Trivia for Thon 2. The thing is, though, that TMG is also doing sort of a pay-per-view style event of their own in February, and I have to defend my title there. And if I were to defend my title here at Trivia for Thon 2, then I wouldn't have a match at that pay-per-view in February because of the fact that I had just gone through the contender and there wouldn't be enough time to find a new one. And then I proposed to the hires up, can I defend my title against Andrew? And because Andrew has not actually had a match in TMG yet, at least in the Chokeslam, he has made some appearances in Movie Battleground in the past. But because of the fact that he hadn't competed in Chokeslam before, my request to defend the title against him was denied, and it is what it is. So we're going to do a nice champion versus champion non-title exhibition for you all. And I don't think I've said this yet. Well, actually, I did say it. Again, peek behind the curtain. I said it yesterday on a Schmodown backstage through a super chat, but the Inner Geekdom champion of the Movie Trivia Schmodown, Kevin Smets, is going to be a special guest judge for this match.
Wow. That is pretty exciting there. Oh, man. I may have to watch that just for the Schmasher.
I mean, that's the appeal. Like, you guys crunch the numbers. That's why you did the thumbnails you did for the Funtacular. Is like, look, I want to highlight the players as much as possible, but I won't deny that the Schmodown personalities also sell. So like having Kevin on, who's been a good friend to all of us at Combat Wrestling Trivia and TMG Entertainment. We're very happy to have him on the desk for this match. I'm sure he'll love the arguments that we have. I almost picked something related to Macho Man, and like as someone who almost came in as the Mach Schmo Man, like that would have been awkward. But yeah, I think we're gonna have a good time. I think he's gonna have a good time, and but I can't wait to see because we're gonna tape that like maybe 2 weeks from now. I can't wait to see how that match turns out, and I can't wait for you all to see how that match turns out. So that's the undercard. So now we get into the main event. So Matthew Rosa, he's been on a hot streak in terms of wrestling trivia this past year. And he is currently the 2-time reigning and defending Combat Wrestling Trivia Workhorse Champion. That is the Iron Man Weekly Defense Championship that Combat Wrestling Trivia has. So what's going to happen is he is going to defend his title against myself and against Liam Crowley, who put on a great performance in a losing effort at the Survivor event that Combat Wrestling Trivia did in November. Matthew's going to be defending his title against the both of us. And if he successfully defends his title in this match here in the main event of Night 4, there will be some implications towards the main event of night 8 for a match that he will also be competing in. So again, that's if he successfully defends. More on that later. But yeah, it's going to be a big Iron Man match in the world of wrestling trivia. Again, myself, Liam Crowley, and the defending champion Matthew Rosa, my tag team partner in wrestling trivia. I'm proud of that kid. I am so proud of that kid. And because like at one point he was very down on himself last year because he wasn't having a lot of success. And then just something changed. Like the moment that workhorse title was introduced, something inside of him just lit on fire, and he's been on a hot streak ever since. And like part of me wants to win this match, but the other part of me will be so happy if he beats me and Liam, because I want to see that kid succeed as much as he possibly can. And Liam Crowley's no slouch either. I realize I'm kind of talking about me and Matthew. Liam Crowley, he has shown in his few matches that he's had in combat wrestling trivia that he is a beast in the world of wrestling trivia. Like as part of his college, he does a few wrestling news broadcasts in his college studio with a few of his friends, and he puts out a good product. Like he understands the business, and you're going to get 3 talented wrestling minds competing in this match.
Yeah, that's another one I'm really looking forward to. As someone who's not stayed caught up with pro wrestling like religiously, but who watched it a lot as a kid and has recently gotten back into it. I'm really looking forward to seeing some of the wrestling trivia matches. So after that, what comes next in the thon?
Okay, so I forgot to mention night 4. That is January 20th. That's a Monday. Again, for the American audience. Night 5. That's Tuesday, January 21st.
It being a Monday night, that is so appropriate.
Yep. Always thinking
the Monday night wars. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm always thinking. I'm always thinking about those little parallels. But yeah, night 5 or day 5, depending on when you watch them and depending on when the videos get uploaded. But yeah, night 5, that is January 21st. That's a Tuesday for the American audiences. The first match we will be having is we're going back to the world of TMG Entertainment, this time in their late TV fights brand, and we're doing a special Star Wars television debate match. It'll be myself taking on my podcast partner, Chris Skywalker Doman. We're going to be talking about things like Rebels, Resistance, the Clone Wars, the Lego shows that they've done, maybe Ewoks, maybe droids, I don't know. But yeah, we're going to be talking a lot we're going to be doing some debating on the TV side of Star Wars. Oh, even the Mandalorian. How did I forget the Mandalorian? And I can't confirm yet because we're still in the process of scheduling, but there might be, again, don't get your hopes up if this doesn't pan out, but there might be 2 special guest judges for this match as well.
Okay.
It's all just a matter of scheduling. We're figuring some stuff out. So yeah, sorry if I got your hopes up. Again, keep your expectations tempered.
You know what? I'm going to watch it anyway because Star Wars.
Of course. That's always a good reason to watch something, is because of Star Wars.
So what comes up in night number 6 for us?
So night number 6, that is Wednesday, January 22nd. Again, I'm being very specific with these dates so everyone knows what to be prepared for. We're having our second Full Metal Classic match of this week-long event. I will be hosting this one, and Jay Burns will be competing in this one. He's the only confirmed competitor out of the 5 people so far. Again, stay tuned for those Facebook posts. Be prepared to sign up when those Facebook posts are made, and we'll get you a match. And you can take on the arsonist himself in a very special match. Hey, he picked the nickname. I didn't. Don't give me those eye rolls.
No, it's appropriate for him. Well, his name's Burns, so there's that, and yep. he's usually smoking a cigarette, so there's that too. So there's always smoke and fire involved with the arsonist. And
every match he's in is always lit.
That's right. That's a perfect way. All right. Well, hey, what rolls out after the thing with Mr. Burns?
So as part of the main event, we're actually doing a very unique rematch from last year's Trivia for Thon. And this one is it's a Full Metal random match, and it's in the world of Avatar: The Last Airbender, the TV series, not the crappy movie that M. Night Shyamalan did, but also the spin-off series of the. Yeah, we have to clarify that. We have to clarify that M. Night Shyamalan has no place in this match whatsoever. So we'll be covering the original cartoon that started it all, but also the cartoon that spun off from it a few years later, The Legend of Korra. And basically, this match last year, it was an Iron Man match between myself, Jay Burns, and my sister Gianna. This year, we're doing things a little differently. So let me give you a rundown here.
Okay.
Jay won last year's match with a score of 24 points. My sister and I tied for second with 23 points. We answered 37 questions overall in the match. What we're doing this time around is we're actually going to completely rewind what we did last year. So getting back to what I said about the last person standing match format like 20 minutes ago, we're going to tweak the rules a little bit and do the first ever reverse Iron Man match. So what's going to happen is Jay Burns is going to start off with the 24 points he finished off last year's match with. And Gianna and myself will start off with the 23 points each that we finished off with. For every question we get right for the first 30 questions, nothing will happen. For every question we get wrong, we will lose a point. That will continue for the duration of 30 questions. Okay. When we get to the last 7 questions, that'll be for the speed round. It'll be gain a point, miss a point. So same rules as the typical Full Metal random Iron Man match. If you get the question right, you get a point back. If you miss the question, you lose another point. Whoever has the higher score by the end of the match, by the end of those 37 questions, under the rules we've just established, will be declared the winner of this match. But yeah, we're trying. Like I said, I like to be experimental with these matches as part of Trivia for Thon, and like I figured, how can we make this different from what we did last year? Because like, where's the appeal of us just running it back again and doing the exact same thing we did before? No, we got to tweak something. We got to make it more interesting. And so I came up with the idea of like, well, Jay is known in multiplex for having been part of a match called the Rewinding, which is basically like he was part of a really good match where the footage was lost and it never got to air, so they ran it back a few months later. So I figured, why don't we just rewind everything we did last year for this one and just do the first ever reverse Iron Man match? So we're gonna have some fun with this. Jay Burns, he and I played like 10 times last year against one another, and every match we had was fun in its own unique way. Originally, Paulo Yama was supposed to be in last year's match, but he had to drop out because obviously the Schmodown picked him up. Right. So when I brought in my sister as his replacement, there was a lot of unknown variables because like no one really knew who she was, because unlike me, she hasn't been on camera very much. So it's like there were some questions of, is she a secret ringer in this particular medium of trivia, or is she just a fan of the show that Nico brought along because she's a fan of the show? But no, she held her own in last year's match, and provided her college schedule allows her to be on the stream for this match, I expect nothing less from her the second time around. It's going to be fire from all three of us. Again, pun intended, because Jay the Arsonist Burns.
Right. Man, well, that one sounds pretty cool. I've watched some of the avatars and some of the we're not talking about the blue folks, right?
No, we're not talking about James Cameron's weird thing with the ponytail relations.
Right. We're talking about the bald kid and his friends with the thing on his forehead. And
yeah, we're talking about the bald tattooed 12-year-old.
Yeah. I always watch out for them. They're tougher than they look.
Are they tougher than Skrulls?
I think they are. They're just maybe not as sneaky and as diabolical as Skrulls. And they're not as hidden and reclusive as them. They're alien pod people. They're the ones you really got to watch out about, because you don't know who they are, and they're always up to no good. But I know I mentioned my place is lined in tinfoil. I really should have my tinfoil hat on if I'm going to talk about that stuff. So I'm gonna get further into it right now.
All good. No need to get the pod people on your.
Yeah, we don't want to rile them up. All right. Well, so what night are we on now?
So we've got 2 more nights to go. We're entering night 7. That is Friday, January 23rd. Thursday, January 23rd. For the Friday, if you're on like the other side of the world, but for the people here in America / Canada / Mexico, it's going to be a Thursday. So we're going to start off the night with a very special Full Metal Geek exhibition match between myself and the current Multiplex Entertainment Fandom TV trivia champion, Eli the Showman McKeag. Now, Eli, he knows his stuff, and he has competed for pretty much every title there is and every medium there is. That's just how good he is. But for some reason, in Full Metal Geek, he's been on a string of bad luck. Like he and I were actually both in the first ever Full Metal Geek match. It was a play-in match to actually qualify for the first spot on the roster back when the league was created. I didn't know as much then as I do now. I literally answered a Lord of the Rings question with, "Can I have fries with that?" Just to make people on the call laugh. It was a different time for me back then. But Eli was on a tear back then, and he qualified for the roster. But since then, he's gone 1-5, and he's been able to find his way back into every tournament. But he's been on the bad luck end of things in that particular league. And he was on the verge of actually retiring following a loss to my boy, Sandy Robinson. I was able to talk him out of retiring so he could do an exhibition match here for Trivia for Thon 2. So he's going to be taking on me in this particular arena. I have not been able to qualify for the Full Metal Geek roster so far, and it's haunted me. It's haunted me so much. Like, it shows the caliber of the roster itself. It makes me kind of butthurt to an extent. Like Robert Parker and RJ Villarreal can attest to this. I want to be on the roster so damn bad, and it just eats away at me that I can't get on the roster. And I had an opportunity last year when I took on Harley Boric in an exhibition. Like, basically the winner of that match from last year was going to qualify for a spot on the roster. And because of exhaustion from all the other matches I had been doing throughout the month, I missed Star Wars questions, and that haunted me. Like that's how tired I was. So I'm hoping I can redeem myself here. Sadly, a spot on the regular roster is not on the line this time, but I'm hoping I can put up a solid enough performance that it will win me back in the favor of Rene Villarreal Jr. and Robert Parker and Sandy Robinson, and I can get a spot on the roster somehow. But I got to go through Eli McKeag, and as I said earlier, he is a beast in pretty much every realm of trivia there is, not just geek. Like, he knows his stuff in everything.
Right. Well, I'll be rooting for you in that one, friend. And I got to say, don't feel bad about missing a Star Wars question because you're exhausted. I did a drunk match not too long ago, and the first one was a Star Wars question, and it was softball.
I saw that. Who got up to 13th?
It was not this guy.
Oh boy, drunk matches, man. I've seen a couple drunk matches in my heyday. That one I can definitely say was the most well produced, but like in terms of keeping up the score, that's probably the worst I've ever seen someone keeping the scores for a drunk match. It doesn't help when the host is also drunk themselves.
We were all hitting the sauce. So yeah, it's lucky that it turned out as well as it did. Was a lot of fun. I think we'll do some more of those some point. But anyway, are there any other matches for Thursday?
There is one more, and I need to phone out for this one because there's a lot of name cover here.
Okay, that's all.
So, for those of you who may not remember, once upon a time, the Schmodown did its fair share of celebrity matches, and one of them was the It Chapter 1 Losers Club match, where they essentially did modified free-for-all rules, like it was essentially like what we know the Royal Rumble to actually be like. 2 people start, If you get eliminated, you've been eliminated. But if everyone has like a tied score, then another person enters the match, and it becomes a 3-way, then a 4-way, then a 5-way until you can't fit any more at the table. We're going to be doing something just like that here for this match. I am calling it the Full Metal Trivia Random Schmodown Trivia Reactors Rumble. So we have a bunch of people from the Schmodown Reactors community and the Schmodown After Show community competing in this match, and we are going to see who knows the most about Schmodown trivia, utilizing the rules of that Losers Club match. And the participants, I'm going to read off their names as well as what channels they will be representing.
Okay.
So, reading off the names of the people competing in this match and the channels they will be representing. So, from my podcast channel of Dedicated to Art, we have the Skywalker himself, Christopher Doman.
Mm-hmm.
Representing Call to Action, we have James the Cleaner Spence.
Okay.
Representing Abby Friel, we have Abby Friel. Representing Take 3 Productions, we have the Perfect Irishman, Douglas Castle. Representing Jaw Movies, you know him, you love him, Albert Wiradharma. He reacts, he makes GIFs from JTH Reacts, Jeremy Hastings. You know him from Talkin' Schmodown. He is the Merc with a Movie blog, Joshua Rayner. And finally, from the New British Empire, Thomas Scully.
Wow.
So those 8 competitors will be in this Reactors Rumble. There was even a joke at one point of the Cinefanatics pet cat competing in this match, but I kind of vetoed it because it's hard to schedule around 8 people as it is, let alone a cat. So sorry to the Cinefanatics, your cat will not be in this match because we finally locked in a date today. And my God, it was a struggle to find that date to lock in, but trust me, there's a lot of work behind the scenes that goes into planning all this.
I believe it. I mean, just doing some of the shows that I do, I don't have usually but about maybe 2 or 3 moving parts. I can't imagine having that many people on deck and finding a time that works for everybody. This is going to be something else.
Oh yeah, and believe it or not, folks, we're still not done because we got one more night. I'm talking, of course, about the final night. Night 8, Friday, January 24th. And for the record, like I said at the beginning of this broadcast, this is the anniversary of my dad's passing. So it feels kind of appropriate that we're ending off the week on that anniversary. We're going to make him proud with 2 very special matches. The first of which is actually taking place here in the Movie Trivia Face-Off. It's going to be a very special 3-on-3 exhibition between myself, Christopher Doman, and your newly crowned Star Wars champion, Case Cornelese, of Dedicated to Art, taking on 3 members of Call to Action. Now, originally, it was going to be Alex MacDaddy McFarland Shashank, James the Cleaner Spence, and Paul DeNuzzo. As of yesterday, Paul DeNuzzo had to drop out due to scheduling conflicts, so replacing him in this match will be Nat Vu, so again, we've got 6 really entertaining competitors in this match who are all really good in trivia in their own respective realms. And we're going to see which is the better show in terms of movie trivia in this very special 3-on-3 with modified rules for round 3, I should mention, because we are going to do this similar to a movie trivia schmodown or face-off teams match with the same amount of questions for rounds 1 and 2. However, for round 3, because it's trios as opposed to 2-on-2 teams, instead of 3 questions, a 2-pointer, a 3-pointer, and a 5-pointer, we are instead going to be doing 4 questions per team, a 1-pointer, a 2-pointer, a 3-pointer, and trios can converse with one another on a 4-pointer. Okay. So that's how we're balancing out the fact that it's a 3-on-3 as opposed to a 2-on-2. Always thinking. Hey, Schmodown, there were talks last season of doing a 3-on-3 match. Here's the format. Utilize it. Like I do these matches partially so like the Schmodown will. I begged Christian to adopt the last person standing format that I created because I thought it would be interesting. And now I've cracked the formula for the 3-on-3 outside of an Iron Man rules. Like you can do a Schmodown rules format match for 3 versus 3 people and make it interesting. So like, yeah, and this match itself is going to be so entertaining simply because of the mouths that so many of the competitors in this match have. And I forgot to mention that Robert and Chris Adams of the Cinefanatics will be on the desk for this match.
Oh, wow. That's you know, and I know this is just the undercard, but that is a heck of a lineup for the last night so far. I got to say, I met those guys, the Cinefanatics, at the Houston live event, and they're the nicest dudes. And I've watched a lot of their videos, and they're pretty dang funny. And as far as like the teams, man, I don't know who to root for. I'll probably just root for you on account of James Spence is a rascal and a part of that house, and that Case Cornelise, you know what? He's a rascal too, because he's a part of the League of Shadows and he's hanging out with a bunch of hoodlums over here. So it kind of makes it hard to know who to root for, but I will root for you, Nico.
I appreciate that. So moving on to the main event.
Mm-hmm.
Much like how we ended last year with the Combat Wrestling Trivia Heavyweight Championship, we are ending it again this year with the Combat Wrestling Trivia Heavyweight Championship. It will be Andrew the Dude Hayes, who won the title in the inaugural championship match versus me last year. So this is his year anniversary in a way of holding the belt. He is defending it against the minor threat, Matthew Rosa. Now, if you remember when I was talking about Night 4, I mentioned that there would be implications for if Matthew retained his workhorse title on Night 4 against myself and Liam Crowley. So what's going to happen is if Matthew Rosa retains his workhorse championship on Night 4, then this match here in the main event of Night 8 will be title for title.
Oh, wow.
The heavyweight championship and the workhorse championship, if Matthew is still the workhorse champion by the time of Night 8, will both be on the line, winner take all. And this is a rubber match, by the way. So in Andrew Hayes' first title defense early last year, he faced off against Matthew Rosa. And this was before Matthew went on the big run that he's been on in the second half of 2019. He was struggling and things did not go his way. He didn't make it to the 5th round and Andrew Hayes won the match by knockout. Fast forward to this past November at the famous Survivor event that I was talking about earlier. And Matthew gets his revenge. It's in a non-title champion versus champion affair. He beats Andrew Hayes. Not only that, he makes Andrew sort of look like a chump in the same way Andrew made Matthew look like a chump earlier in the year. And basically Andrew Hayes promised Matthew a title shot down the road at Trivia for Thon. And then Matthew said, if I am still the workhorse champion by then, I will happily defend my title in that same match for Trivia for Thon. So we have two guys who want to be the top dog, who want to be fighting champions, who want to be the cream of the crop that rises to the top, as Macho Man Randy Savage used to say, while under the influence of cocaine. Matthew's my bro, and I want to see him win. And I can tell you for a fact, he's laser focused. Like he wants to do something that no one else has done before. He wants to do for wrestling trivia what Paulo Yama did for movie trivia. He wants to hold all 3 titles by the end of the week: the tag titles, the workhorse title, and the heavyweight title. Now, whoever wins has to choose which belt they have to vacate after the match, but they will be the winner will be double champion, at least for a brief 5 minutes. If Matthew is able to defend the workhorse title on Night 4 and this title match does become title for title. And so like, yeah, I wanted to highlight that wrestling trivia. I realized that the audience might be smaller than it is for movie trivia around here, but like these guys are worthy of being in the main event. They've worked their ass off to get to the main event, as apparent by their dominant title reigns. And it's going to be a must-see match for sure. I'm going to do my best to find a special guest commentator on the desk for this match, just so you have extra incentive to watch it. But the players themselves, that should be enough to sell it because of how good they are.
Man, that is going to be something else. And what a heck of a way to end this thing. Man. So this is going to be a pretty, well, it already is. This is a pretty stacked card.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And this is 15 matches over the course of 8 days, leading into the Schmodown Brooklyn event with Drew Guy versus Robert Meyer Burnett, and the Intergeekdom title being defended by Kevin Smets against the former champ Mark Hanape. Like, I can't think of a better 15 matches to help set up the Schmodown's 7th season.
Yeah, it's no, I can't either. This is going to be something. And you know, the cool thing is there is something in here for everybody. You know, if one type of match isn't your thing, there are so many different options that I think, you know, everybody's going to have something in here that they can look forward to. I'm looking forward to all of it. A couple quick questions about this. As far as like, just so the people watching know, because what I think is like the most important part of it. When can folks start to donate, and when do the donations have to be over by?
So Thon itself is going to be happening from Friday, February 21st to Sunday, February 23rd.
Okay.
I'm going to create my donation box, my donor box link. I'm going to create it sometime soon before January 17th, if not the day of January 17th. Like that is when people, as far as I know, that is the first day people will be able to donate. I might release the donor link sooner than that. It all depends on getting everything set up in time, but it will be ready no later than January 17th. And you can donate at that link again in the video descriptions. The link will be posted in the video descriptions of each match throughout the 8-day Trivia for Thon 2 card. And the cutoff date is going to be at, I believe, 11:59 p.m. February 22nd, which is like the last day before Thon's final day. So try to get I hope you saved up some money from after the holidays, and you're willing to find it in your hearts to donate to this good cause that is the Four Diamonds Pediatric Cancer Research Fund. And I was going to say something and I just forgot.
Oh, that's okay. I'll let you think on it for a second. Once we have the link available, we'll also add it to the description of this video, and I'll make sure it's in the description on my Hillbilly Hollers and any other of these Hangout videos that I do between now and then.
And I appreciate it greatly, and I just remembered what I was going to say. So, like I mentioned earlier, I'm a hold my beer kind of guy. I see someone accomplish something, and I want to see if I can top it. Last year, I wanted to raise $6,000, and I raised $7,072. This year, now Penn State, New Kensington, its goal is the same. It wants to raise $30,000 by the deadline. I, on the other hand, want to top my own streak here. I went for $6,000 last year. I want to try for $10,000 this year because, again, I was motivated. Like I saw how everyone was motivated to help out when Paul Preston's wife Karen was diagnosed with her own battle with cancer. And rest in peace, by the way, Karen. Paul, you're in my thoughts. But like I saw how the community came together to fight for that cause, and they reached their goal. And their goal was at least 5 figures. And so if we can do that on just such short notice, again, imagine what we can do with a few weeks to prepare. So yeah, like I want to raise $10,000. I want to keep Penn State, New Kensington on that top 10 earners list, and I want to keep making a bigger and bigger difference every year as I do this along, because I want to keep doing this every year, even after I'm no longer a competitor in the fan leagues and maybe have graduated to the Schmodown class. Like I want to keep doing this. I want to keep doing this every year, and I want to keep raising the stakes every year. And so this year, the stakes are $10,000. I hope y'all can help me reach that goal. And even if we don't, I'll be satisfied. I'll be satisfied because we all pitched in and we all did a good thing together.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I know like on a lot of our trivia videos and competition videos, we all talk the tough talk and come across like we're a bunch of big tough guys. But you know what? This community really is filled with some of the sweetest folks you'll ever meet. And stuff like this really does bring out the best in all of us. So I have no doubt whatsoever, Nico, that you're going to hit your goal. I think you're going to exceed it. And this all goes to the really one of the best of causes. So we'll go ahead. I think we've gone over everything. Before we wrap up and call it a good night, let everybody know where they can get a hold of you. I know you're in different things all over the interwebs and whatnot. So just let the folks know where we can find you at, Nico.
Oh, I got my hand in a lot of cookie jars, and sometimes it can be exhausting. Like, this is something I forgot to mention. So in the 15 matches that I competed in for last year's Trivia-a-thon, I only came out victorious once. So that's something I really hope to avoid this time around, is I want to get at least 2 wins overall. Yeah. I'm hoping one of them is the tag team turmoil match. And to be honest, also the Chokeslam versus Combat Wrestling Trivia match as well, because like I'm the champion for the Chokeslam. I'm representing the Chokeslam on the TMG channel. So like if I lose in a non-title affair against the guy who hasn't competed in the division so far, I'm going to look like a jackass. So I want to put my best foot forward, and I also want to get that tag team gold from my brother Matthew, because the kid has earned it. He deserves it, and I don't want to be what holds him back from achieving his goals. So let's hope for at least 2 victories out of the 11 matches I'll be competing in for this 8-day period. Let's hope I'm victorious.
I'm going to be rooting for you in all of them, brother. So I'm hoping you win all 11.
I appreciate it. But getting back to where you can find, so Facebook, Twitter, YouTube at Nico Suave Regoli, or just Nico Suave with 4 random English numbers at the end on Discord. Combat Wrestling Trivia on Facebook, Combat Wrestling Network on YouTube, where you can watch those 3 big matches with titles on the line. That is the YouTube address. The poorly made Twitter handle is at Combat Wrestling, the number 2. There is no letter G. Don't ask me how that happened. It's just one of those things. As I mentioned, I am the TMG Entertainment, the Chokeslam Wrestling Debate Champion of the world. And you can find me, of course, on Dedicated to Art. That is the name of the Facebook group and the Facebook business page and the YouTube channel. The Twitter and Instagram is at D2A channel. The email address is at DTOA@gmail.com. You can find us wherever podcasts are available. Check out the Who Cares Anyway podcast live every Friday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. And we do Schmodown reactions when the Schmodown is around to react to. So stay tuned for that. Excuse me, my throat's going away. We do reviews all the time to whatever Star Wars television content is out there. We did Manners Maketh the Mandalorian for when the Mandalorian was happening, and we still do Viva la Resistance for Star Wars Resistance. And we've got a whole bunch of more shows coming out in the new year for 2020. I'm going to be hosting a comic book news show. I'm working on something else for like a comedy show as well. So many things happening in 2020. I know I'm going to be dead on the ground by the end of this month with everything I have going on. I don't know how to say no.
Well, you've got an awfully big heart, friend, and I can tell that you throw it into all of this stuff 100%. And from just the sound of what you've gone over tonight, you got a lot of innovative stuff lined up, a lot of entertaining stuff lined up, a lot of big names and faces. There are big names and faces in our community lined up for this thing, and I'm just so excited about it. And I'm going to make sure that in the description to this video, like I said, when we have the donation link, it'll be down there. I'm also going to put a bunch of the links you just went over so the folks can find you in the other things that you're involved in. But I don't know. You got anything else you want to talk about tonight, or?
I'll say this. Since it's sort of the new year, it's like,
yeah.
And again, peek behind the curtain. It's January 3rd when we're taping this. So New Year's resolutions, what are they? And in relation to this community, I mentioned Matthew Rosa. He wants to be the first guy to hold all three of Combat Wrestling Trivia's belts at the same time. He wants to be for wrestling trivia what Paulo Yama was for movie trivia here in the fan leagues.
Mm-hmm.
I, on the other hand, I want to be the first person to win a title in every league. And I feel like that's going to start on night 1 of Trivia for Thon 2 when Matthew and I capture the tag team titles. I'm already the TMG Entertainment Chokeslam champion. Chris Doman and I, we're going to make a run in multiplex for that Fandom Fight Teams title. We're looking at doing movie Warzone as a team as well. I want to get him his first title. I want to be his partner when he gets his first championship because it's so close to happening for him. And I want to be there for him when it happens and be there with him to share in his glory. So yeah, I want to hold, like I already mentioned, I got the TMG Chokeslam Championship, but I want to hold tag team gold in every single league and every single division that has a tag team title. So be it Multiplex's Fandom Fight, be it Multiplex's Movie Warzone, be it Full Metal Teams, be it Movie Trivia Face-Offs teams division, which is starting up in 2020. Me, Chris, and Matthew, I want to make sure all of us have gold. Case just won the Star Wars title. I want to get Zadius his TV Throwdown title back as well. Get more gold for Team 80s. Even for the Iron Eagles, who you haven't seen me manage yet, but I do care for them and I do want to see them succeed as well. I just want to be surrounded by champions. Yeah. And I want to be one myself in as many places as I possibly can be.
Well, it sounds like a pretty good goal and pretty good resolution for this year, and I'll be rooting for you all the way, man. And I just wanted to just remind everyone, make sure you check out all the links in the video. And I just want to thank you for being on the show tonight, Nico, and going over all the matches in the Charity-a-thon. I'm sorry, I said it wrong. The Trivia-a-thon, and letting all of
let me say the hashtag real quick. Hashtag the word trivia, the number 4, and in all caps, THON, the number 2. So Trivia for Thon 2, hashtag Trivia for Thon 2, because there was a lot of confusion last year as to what was the hashtag. Again, that's what you get for originally naming the thing, the John Regoli Memorial Trivia-a-thon for Thon. People will get confused by the branding. So I made a good call shortening the name this time around, and I just want to make sure branding is on point this time. You did a good job today, Hillbilly, and I'm thankful for having you on for as long as you had me on, because like you mentioned to me before we went live that usually these shows only last 15 to 30 minutes. You let me be on for 90, and I appreciate it greatly.
That's okay. I wanted to make sure that we covered everything, and I wanted to make sure that, just that we covered everything and that everyone knows exactly what to be watching for and where to be watching for. Because, we're all about getting the word out on these types of things. And, I wanted our viewers here in the MTFO to get their eyes on you, because I have a feeling we're probably going to see more of you around here this year as well.
Let's hope so.
All right. Well, that's about all we got for tonight, folks. So I appreciate y'all sticking with us, and make sure you check out all of these matches. This is going to be some good stuff, and it's for, like I said, one of the greatest of causes. And, until next time, you folks have a good day, and y'all stay glorious.
Yeah.